I'd like to acknowledge that this episode of the Teach New South Wales podcast was recorded on the homelands of the Darug people. I'd like to pay respect to elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples listening today. Welcome to the Teach New South Wales podcast, a podcast by teachers for teachers.
I'm Shannon and
I'm Siobhan. Today we're really excited to have Matt on the couch, who is a New South Wales public school principal on the traditional lands of the Wongal and Watagora people. Welcome, Matt, to the couch.
Thank you so much.
Matt has been with the department for 34 years and joins us today to discuss, amongst other things, building a collaborative school culture. So welcome.
Thanks again.
we love to start off the show by doing a little bit of a this or that, kind of a teacher edition. So the first one up, we've got, do you prefer morning or after school duty?
Morning duty.
Okay. Specific reason? Are you more of a morning person?
Definitely more of a morning person.
Yeah.
But by the end of the day, it's a lot of effort goes into being a teacher or a principal, and I'm pretty tired.
Yeah,
at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Deserving of that break. What about you, Siobhan?
I would say afternoon because it's quick. Like
Yeah.
it's done. For me in high school, the bus duty was over in
I
like
was
10
going to say,
minutes.
we know you're a bus duty fan.
Yeah, I love bus duty over in 10 minutes. I'm out of there. Wipe my hands, high-vis vest off.
She quite likes the whistle as well.
I do like the whistle, yes.
The power of the whistle. All right, the next one up we have, would you rather, or this or that, lead the professional learning for your whole staff or lead the whole school assembly?
I like leading the whole school assembly because you're talking to kids.
Yeah.
And in that way, I like to have an effect with kids and talk to parents at the same time.
Yes.
Because some of them aren't the best when it comes to parking outside the school.
That's always
so they need constant reminders.
Yeah.
I like leading the whole school assembly.
Yeah, nice. Do you have a microphone at your whole school assembly?
Yes.
Yeah, that was I think it was the microphone that really drew me up there.
Was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I really liked having the mic and having my SingStar moment.
Yeah,
Bring
with
back.
800 kids, you need
Absolutely.
a microphone.
I think from my perspective and like observing principals in the different schools that I've worked at, I think it really sets the tone when the principal is the one to address the assembly quite frequently. I think that like sharing their vision and values for the week or for the term or whatever it may be, constant reminders of, what positive behaviour looks like and what's coming up in the school, celebrating success within the school. I'll never forget when I started at my substantive role in the first assembly, I was welcomed in the school assembly. It's a bit like, oh, don't look at me. But, they said, there's our new English teacher over there. You give a wave in front of the 800 students. But I just think it does make a difference because everyone's on the same page. So I really appreciate the value of principals speaking at whole school assemblies. What about you, Shannon?
Yeah, no, the same thing happened to me actually now that you have reminded me, brought me back. Yeah, when I got my position at the primary school that I was working at, my principal brought us all up. It was a couple of us beginning teachers all there at the same year and lined us up one by one and introduced us to the school community. It was quite daunting at the beginning, but no, it is really nice. I think it builds that connection with your community as well, having, being visible within the school. Definitely. Yeah. All right, our final one for this segment, I've got athletics carnival or swimming carnival.
Oh, both. Sporty backgrounds.
Okay.
I love them both.
Yeah.
And, take active roles within them.
Yeah.
I didn't run in the teacher 100-metre race this year.
Oh,
So I was
Missed
scared
out.
of doing an injury.
Yeah.
And I had a cricket carnival coming up, so I thought,
priorities.
Playing it safe.
Be sensible, Matt. So,
Yeah.
We don't need a pulled hammy before the cricket
No,
carnival, that's
no,
for sure.
no,
Yeah.
Not an old man like me.
What about you?
I've never run in a race or
Haven't
swum in a
you?
race, no, because I can't put my ego aside.
We
Like
might
it
have to
just-
get up and do one right now.
I know. I don't know if anyone's ever asked me. Maybe they've looked at me and said, no, she'd be no good on the on the relay team. I don't know. But always happy to take, like the inspirational motivator role. Like, let's go, teachers. We're going to, beat these students in the race. Come on, start stretching.
I
So-
love the camaraderie that happens when, especially we had, all the teachers had their house colours as well. So we were all divided up into the different houses at my school, and I was in the red house, so I was very proud to run in the red race, which was exciting. So yeah, I'm athletics carnival kind of teacher as well.
In my primary school, from my own schooling experience, I'll never forget in the afternoon, like close to an athletics carnival or any sports carnival, we'd go out into the playground, split into our house groups, and we'd practice that chant. We'd practice our march. I was a sports house captain in year 6, so I was making sure my team were marching, all arms in line and really keep them in line. So that's actually a really fond memory that I have, and I hope it's still kicking about in these
absolutely.
schools.
Certainly does.
Yeah.
Certainly does. Everyone takes a big pride in their house, and it's a great. They're all great carnivals, cross country included. We do that K-6 as well. So we have a lot of fun.
Do you do your cross country on site, or do you go off site for it?
No, we're lucky that we've got a park nearby, and it's a massive park. So
Nice.
yeah, it's a great little area to run in. Probably could do with a few more hills and dales.
Yeah.
But no, we're fortunate where we are.
Yeah.
You reminded me, actually, speaking of cross country, there was a year there was very high stakes with the neck and neck with position 1 and position 2 in the race, and the boy who was coming first at the time, his shoe came off.
Oh no.
And the boy who was coming second, he stopped, picked up his shoe.
Aw,
he could have
good.
just run in front of him.
Yeah.
He stopped, picked up his shoe, ran up and gave it to him, and he said, "Here you go, mate, put your shoe on and then we'll go together." And just waited for him to get it on, and off they went again. I honestly always get goosebumps thinking of that. And then that boy, he was in my class, so proud of him, and he got the citizenship award at the end of the year. And it's moments like that you're just like, oh my God.
Proud of you.
Yeah, so proud.
Values of public education at work.
There you go.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Hope he's
stuff.
doing well now, that student of mine.
Well, let's jump in, Matt, and talk a little bit about you, because like I mentioned in the introduction, you've been with the New South Wales Department of Education for 34 years. So an incredible tenure, and you've worked across 7 different school contexts.
That's right.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm interested to hear how those diverse school contexts or experiences that you've had have shaped your approach to your leadership.
Wow. So yeah, look, 34 years, I suppose it's almost a bit like Survivor, isn't it? Outlast, maybe not outwit.
Outplay.
I don't know. I've never been one to be say that I was mentally up for any challenge, but varying different schools. Started out at Western Sydney, southwestern Sydney, at out the back of Liverpool. Very disadvantaged area. By the end of the 5 years I was there, I didn't want to leave because by that stage you had developed the trust with the community and the children. And as such, they really trusted you. They wanted to do things for you. And so it was a remarkable turnaround in just 5 years. And then I set about going on the promotion way, and I have got an executive teacher's position, which doesn't exist anymore. They just go straight into assistant principal. But years and years ago, back in the Stone Age, they had the executive teacher position, and that was a very different school, a very affluent area, lovely kids, great school, and was led by a principal who remains my mentor today. And she was fantastic. Came in to team teach with you. You sense that not only was she a leader, but she was a true classroom teacher at heart, and made me passionate about the art of teaching. She was actually, I got that promotion and I didn't want to leave that school either. It was just wonderful. Side note, my current deputy principal was in my year 6 class.
Oh my goodness.
Again, outlast, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
But she gave me a 5-year plan in which to become a principal. So then I moved on to another southwestern Sydney school around the Fairfield area at that time. And again, very different context, soccer loving, and very sporting type of school. And a larger school than the first two, and led a very diverse team there on stage 3. Another little side note, I went looking for a car one day, and one of the children in my year 6 class is a used car dealer. Never forget
Not when
it.
he was in year 6 though.
So, no, not in year 6, no. No.
Saying, wow, entrepreneurial.
Yeah, you're growing entrepreneurs over there.
That's right. That's right. Went from there, 2 years there, 2 years at a school in the Bankstown area, another bigger school. Lasted 2 years there and decided that it was time to be a principal and went out to a school, Western Sydney, Dundas area, and it was fantastic. Spent 6 years there and now 13 years at my current school, and it's a 800 strong school. Love it. Everything's operating the way I envisaged it would. So, you know, it's sort of looking for challenges now and making sure that we can get everything out of the children as possible.
You must have had such a supportive range of mentors throughout your time, you know, through varied roles and going for promotions and things like that. Is there someone that stands out to you?
Well, Kerry's the one that is my mentor to this day, and, you know, I still ring her or talk to her on, you know, messaging or whatever. Because I still need advice. 34 years doesn't guarantee that you know everything.
No, lifelong learner, as we like to say to our students.
Exactly. And, you know, she's always got a really good way of pointing it to what is most important at that particular time or that bit of advice that I need. So, you know, and I owe a lot to her because I think I came out of my first school as the disciplinarian, you know what I mean, and making sure that everything was right. But you know, to rediscover my craft and have a real passion for that, and now to take it, you know, further into my principal career now, and making sure that kids are getting exactly what they need, so that they have all the skills to move into adulthood. That's been really exciting and something I've never forgotten. One of my other mentors in my first school. Believe it or not, I play veterans cricket with his son, Simon, and you know, he's still around, and so I get to talk to him as well at those cricket carnivals, and you know, he was a well-loved man, and probably taught me more about visibility than anything else, and being that person that's in contact with kids, and he would greet them of a morning and sometimes of an afternoon, and that's something that's part of my practice. And whatnot, but he was just a really easy person to get along with, and still is to this day. And so lots of mentors, but those two stick out more than anything else.
Yeah, to me it sounds like because you've been in so many different school contexts and gaining that valuable experience, and now you sort of say, you know, you've got your school the way you like it. It's running well. You're looking for challenges. What would you say maybe are like your top 3 non-negotiables that you've sort of brought into your school as part of your vision?
Well, I think number one is children choosing their learning experience. I think what I've learnt over the years is rather than be the sage on the stage or chalk and talk type of thing. There may be viewers who don't know what chalk means, but these days,
I hope you're not pointing to us.
We're aware. Just got to clear that up.
But we've done a lot of work on and action research on project-based learning and children choosing their own roles and choosing how they want to attack a question of inquiry, which could be a real-world problem, has been eye-opening for us at my current school, and it's led to fantastic outcomes. My favourite thing to talk about, or 2 favourite things concerning project-based learning. One of them was a stage 2 building a billy cart thing.
Oh.
Now, you know, I don't know if children really understand what billy carts meant to someone of my age and my era. But I did have a billy cart, and the amount of times I actually came off that billy cart because it didn't operate the brakes properly or it had rope to steer it and going down a steep hill. But it was fun. I used to do it. And so this project was about building the billy carts, and then they had to devise a test to see who would be the best driver, who would be the best pusher, people outside of the school to actually source products to build the billy cart with. And we had this great array of billy carts all around the school, and they tested them out, and, you know, we had winners and all that. But I had tears in my eyes because I saw what it meant to the children, but it also made me reflect on my childhood. You know what I mean? And I think we gave them an understanding about something that used to happen in the 50s, 60s, 70s type of thing, rather than with current day. And then my second other favourite thing to talk about with project-based learning was a thing called the Dark Sky Project. And it was about giving observatories a greater chance to explore deep space by reducing the amount of light we have here in Sydney. Now, we have an observatory near the Harbour Bridge we can't use for deep space exploration. So Siding Springs is probably the next best one. But the Sydney glow is that much that it's even starting to have an effect up there. And we're talking hundreds of kilometres away. So we had that question of inquiry. How could we reduce light in Sydney to make sure that we could still continue the work at Siding Springs Observatory? 2 groups. So this is a statewide competition, right? There's not only primary schools involved, there's high schools involved and whatnot. And 2 groups at our school, out of the 16 groups that were doing it, one group decided that they would do a local council policy that was adopted by Cumberland Council, only the 3rd council in New South Wales to adopt such a policy. They wrote the whole thing. 12-year-old children having a direct effect on adult lives. The other 2 local councils were the 2 ones that surrounded Siding Springs Observatory. So that was just amazing. They won the competition, even beat high schools. And the other one, and they finished 3rd in the competition, didn't want to attack Vivid Light Festival, but designed an education board about how people could reduce light in their own homes, and have that storyboard at Vivid Festival that didn't actually eventuate, which would have been cool if it did. But it was just a wonderful idea. And so our kids developed these projects. They worked really, really hard on it and saw the benefits of it. And, high school children involved, they beat them as well. And, I can remember talking to the children about, their feelings and the hard work and how proud they were of themselves. We actually then took them up to Siding Springs Observatory so that they could see what they were talking about and what they were trying to save. And they're remarkable things that, you come across in your career, but no doubt things that children remember for the rest of their lives, And I think that's sort of the second part is we're creating memories. Yeah. I remember my primary school time fantastically well, and it was a very, very happy time. And so I talk to my teachers about creating those happy memories for children because I don't know that a lot of people have many happier times in lives than what they do in their primary school years. So we have an emphasis on making sure we're learning everything we need to learn, but creating that bit of fun and that creativity within what we do to make sure it's a lifelong memory for them. So I think, did you say 3? Because I think I've got through 2.
What I'm getting from you is visibility, student-centered learning, project-based learning, and making memories. To me, I think those are so important, and absolutely. I think, are the core of what a great school can look like. So
and something I really align with as well, like with my own pedagogy, I think my class as well participated in the Dark Sky Project.
All right.
Yeah, very insightful, but
no hard feelings if that school beat yours.
We weren't the winners, but I'll let that one slide for you, Matt. But there's another experience that I was hold quite fondly in my memories as a teacher. With the Western Sydney Airport, my students, I got involved. Somehow came across it. I was always a bit of a, looking on staff notice board for opportunities for my students. I was a big believer in linking that real world connection to their learning. That was a big part of the classroom. And basically it was in collaboration with Minecraft for Education, the students created an Aeroacropolis for the new Western Sydney site. And I wasn't someone who was very, a breath of what was going on with the new airport. it, but let me tell you, by the end of that project, I knew the ins and outs of Badgerys Creek and what was going on out there. But to see the students work together, the way that they understood like what goes into construction, how you need to look for, you know, a good site. When we talk about the community members, what impact would they have? Like, it just gave them such a versatile overview of, you know, what goes into a project, I suppose, and thinking about council restrictions and things like that. Like, these were year 5 and 6 as well. And just the pride that I had in the things that they were learning and coming up with, and the decisions they were making, and the understanding they had, and the development of like that whole design thinking from ideation to, you know, execution was just phenomenal. And I believe like we all have wonderful lessons, but that project-based led assignments that I've done with my classes are the things that I hold highest in my memory and just have so much regard for, because you go on this journey with your class and you have outcomes that you could never have even predicted. And the realizations that they have, not only for themselves, but for you as a teacher, is really, really special.
Yeah, and the reflection you have on that as well is really, really important for your own teaching. You know, and you've learnt things, you know, not only about how you've handled that whole situation, but even learnt facts from your kids.
Oh my goodness, yes.
And it's great to share with the students that I learnt this from you.
Yeah.
And it makes them feel good. I suppose in a way, you know, it makes me think of how underestimated our primary school children are, particularly when they go into high school. And I really wish at times that you know, they could you know, start in high school where they left off. You know, from primary school. But it's all good. You know, they learn a lot of different things in high school as well. But our kids can be phenomenal at times, can't they?
I love to tell them, you know, all of you little people, you're the future leaders of the world. Like, it's pretty special. You can do some wonderful things.
So don't make me look bad.
Yeah. So next time we'll win. No, I'm really joking.
Or they've got to make decisions for old people. And like, you know, when they're
having
adults, I'm going to be old, and nursing homes, all that sort of make good decisions for me. Yeah,
remember where you came from.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, but I remember in our sort of conversation, was it your own primary school teacher that influenced your journey into the career?
It certainly was.
Yeah.
And
Year 6 teacher?
Year 6 teacher. She was a first year out teacher. And I don't think I really appreciated that as a year 6 student.
Probably wouldn't have even recognised, right?
No, but she recognised me as an individual, number one. There were aspects about her teaching that sort of cared about my background as well. You know, I'm a single parent family, and, you know, we weren't well off at all, you know, but, you know, she took an active interest in me. She brought out the best in me through competition. So
she knew you well.
She knew me well. And like, you know, we'd be doing these homework contracts and we'd get them on the Monday. I'd have it finished on Monday night. You know, coloured in even, like a boy in year 6. Colouring, shading, all these sorts of things, all in the hope of getting above 100%. You know, it's not possible, right? But she would give marks beyond 100%. You get 105. Oh my God, that made my year. You know, and I would have walked across hot coals for her, honestly. But
Says a lot about her relationship building, doesn't it?
Yeah.
As a first year teacher, like.
Yeah. And I suppose, you know, we don't all have a really good, persona as a teacher in our first year out. But she must have been a born teacher because she brought that out in all of us. It was impactful. My whole primary school career, I can remember every single teacher, and I can remember the sorts of impacts that they made on me. And I suppose that's part of the reflection. You know, we talked about reflection with, you know, what we do with students right now. But, you know, I reflect on how I am as a teacher and little bits I think that each teacher I had in primary school and some of my high school teachers brought out in me and brought to my DNA as a teacher too.
Do you find now as a principal, like you speak so fondly of your own mentors and your year 6 teacher, do you hope to sort of have that impact with the next generation of teachers coming through, beginning teachers, early career teachers? How do you as a principal sort of support them through the early years in their career?
Look, I'm only coming to realise that is now my role. Confidence building is a big part of doing it. I think when I started my career, I wasn't very confident at all. And here I am 34 years later and I'm talking in front of people and I'm vodcasts like this. But it takes a long time to do those sorts of things, and a long time to be comfortable in your skin, to grow into your skin, to know what type of educator you're going to be.
Yeah, and I really resonate with that because I did a Masters of Teaching after my bachelor's degree. And, being quite honest, I really wasn't too sure 100% what I wanted to do. And, like many others, I'm sure out there are some people who just born knowing what they want to do and others who need to find their way in life. But the best thing I ever did, because I only had 2 stints of professional experience, I took up an SLSO job, so a student learning and support officer job. And that for me, being able to be in classrooms, and I have spoken about it on previous episodes of this podcast, to build my confidence and to sort of have the ability to observe different teachers and their practice really helped boost me up, I think. And then when I was, moving towards graduating and out there casual teaching, there were so many things that I just picked up and was able to add to my teacher toolkit that I don't think I would have had unless I took that role. So we have spoken before, on here about go and reach out to your local public school. If you are studying education, a bachelor or a master's, and see if there is work for you as a student learning and support officer, because it's a wonderful role within a school.
Absolutely. And I've got a couple of third year out teachers at the moment. I've given them 1 day a week because they're still doing their 4th year. All 3 teachers are ex-students.
Oh, wow.
Of the current school I'm in. So they already know the culture and the atmosphere that exists within the school. They've worked as SLSOs. Now they're working 1 day a week. And once they've finished their 4th year, I'm planning on bringing them in as temporary teachers. It's really exciting to me to see that full circle happen, sort of thing. And, if I'm real, those 3 students at school, they were born teachers. And I'm glad they chose the profession. And, and I suppose that leads me into the next point, is that teaching is an honourable profession. And what we do is really, really important. Our teachers need to respect that, but they also need to enjoy that. The responsibility is huge. 6 hours a day, we've got to keep these kids safe. But, we can do that in a very, very interesting and at times humorous or, a really engaging way. They've got to really respect what they do and hold themselves up in high esteem because, teachers create lawyers, doctors, all the important people.
We're creating the tomorrow, I like to say.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Speaking of, having that I love that whole life cycle, bringing back ex-students. It sounds like you fostered quite a collaborative environment in your school. Is there, some tips or tricks or strategies you've used along the way to foster that within a school as a principal?
I think, we talked about visibility and visibility for students and for parents, right? You've got to be visible for your staff and you've got to be available for them, right? So, I spent the majority of the last week of school in term 2 going into classrooms, marking, writing, or, giving stickers out to kids or, listening to them read, those sorts of things. And teachers appreciate the fact that you come in there. Yeah. I get a look at what teachers are doing in there, but I don't, commit things to memory or go and write down in my diary what exactly happened. There's also times where, teachers are going through a bit of a hard time. Like a parent may have said something off to them in a parent-teacher interview, or they just might be going through some hard life stuff. And I've got to be on the ball with that and know what's going on and approach it in a sensitive enough way that they know that they've got support, that I'm right behind them, that I back them up 100%, that I think they're an amazing teacher, build the confidence in that way. And I suppose as well, I've got to differentiate my style because not everyone's the same. Yeah. So, I've got to make sure that, what might work for one teacher as far as building their confidence and skills is concerned is not going to work for every other. I've got a little database in which I know how to attack the different teachers within our school. Obviously, it doesn't work when they've just come. I've got to get to know them, but I spend the time to do that. and getting to know their stories outside of school as well. I think that's a really important thing, and I suppose not just important for teachers, but for students, their parents, our whole school community. The more stories you know and that you digest and react to in a positive
building,
way,
yeah.
it's absolutely about connection building.
Yeah. So if you were sort of what I'm taking from this, if you were going back to potentially early career teachers who may be thinking, I would like to embark upon a leadership journey at some stage in my career, what advice would you have for them?
Well, get your backyard in order, and make sure that you know exactly what our syllabus is all about at all levels, right? So, because it's really handy as a teacher to know where the kids are coming from, but where they need to go.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I encourage my teachers to look at the secondary curriculum as well, because we've got some kids that are
Working
out of the
beyond,
blocks as far as their learning is
Absolutely.
concerned. As far as our children are concerned, we've got to be making sure that everything that they are doing has a purpose within the classroom. And when you understand that purpose as a teacher, then you understand what needs to happen across classes of a stage to become that leader, to make sure that you can adequately support the teachers in their quest for getting the necessary knowledge and outcomes and indicators on board for those children. And often it's not about teachers actually putting their hand up and saying, I'm ready for leadership.
Because we can have, speaking on behalf of everyone, but I might know myself that imposter syndrome is something that's really prevalent within myself, my colleagues, the profession in general. And sometimes having leaders in your corner who, like you said, get to know your story, kind of know what makes you tick in a sense. Yes, I can lead an extracurricular, or I can lead a key learning area, for example, but understanding those interpersonal skills. And sometimes you just need a little nudge from someone in a leadership role to show you that hey, I back you. I know that you have these skills. You can do this.
Yeah, exactly. And I suppose, that confidence building in teachers is really, really important. I suppose, as new teachers come into the profession, they hold back a little, you know what I mean? So, my job these days is to make sure that they bring themselves out to the fore. They're in front of people, not just kids, but in front of a lot of people, even, delivering PL to staff and whatnot, just to have those opportunities to speak and to be confident and to be proud of their profession.
I'm going to ask you a pretty big question now, which is, what sort of legacy do you hope to leave within your school or within education as a whole?
Wow.
I said big question.
Dark hitters.
Look, I'd like to think that my whole school community sees that I work hard. And the reason I work hard is because I really believe in bringing children along to be everything that they want to be, that, they all hold dreams, and those dreams, need to be realised. I know that parents have dreams for their children, but it's the children that need to make sure that they follow their goals, type of thing. I had certain dreams for my 3 children, and it didn't work out that way, and they followed their own dreams, and I'm immensely proud of them.
It's what you're an advocate for at the end of the day, right?
Exactly, because they had their own self-advocacy to say, this is what I want to do, and this is my choice, and all I had to do was listen and support. So through hard work, I hope the children go, yep, I have the confidence to make those decisions for my life and make them good decisions. Type of thing. I think to lead with heart is really, really important. I think that my school community sees that I care. So it's really important that the children learn this at primary school and hopefully continue that through high school into adulthood, and they become caring individuals within the societies that they hopefully manage or lead. That's what the dreams I hold for the children at my school. And I think fun. I think, and I've been very vocal about this in a number of different forums, that fun leads to people relaxing in their role. believing in themselves as well. And, if they have enough fun and develop that confidence, that leads to execution. And if we execute our skills in the right way in front of our children, in front of our parents, in front of our whole school community, even our staff with PL or whatever it is, then, it leads to a relentless approach to what we do. And hopefully, some of my staff members, some of the students in whatever work they choose or whatever it is, get to experience a job that they don't seriously call work. And I feel like I get up in the morning, I do what I need to do, I have breakfast, and I go along to a place I really enjoy that I don't call work, and I've been fortunate enough to do that for 34 years. So.
Yeah, wow. It sounds like a big part of your philosophy is empowering others. From this conversation, this is kind of what I've taken. You really, big on empowering the students to have their sort of student-centered learning, empowering your staff to take the leap. How do you sort of build that capacity within your school from pre-service teacher to, current teachers, then all the way through to the executive staff to have, or executive team, I should say, to have that sort of collaborative approach as a unit, as a team?
I think, we have a lot of times within our school week where we are collaborative as a stage with our assistant principal curriculum and instruction. We call a session with them CHIPS, right? Curriculum hour of planning sessions.
I love that. Chips.
It actually.
Do you have
I
some
introduced
chips
it
at the?
Well, and they say that I need to provide hot chips every time they have a.
I'm feeling like you do.
Sometimes I have, not often, because I'm a bit of a health nut, I suppose. But I introduced it with the old 70s and 80s show Chips, the California Highway Patrol. One of my favourite shows as a child, right? I think it's not only having the opportunity to be collaborative, it's about articulating what that collaboration means.
Yeah, coming from a high school context, it's not often that you sometimes are really refined to your staff room or your colleagues within the staff room. So we had something similar at our school. I'll give you another acronym, SALT, Staff Action Learning Teams.
Nice.
And we would split into, different elements of the school excellence framework. And we actually got to choose which team we would like to be a part of. So it's like giving you the opportunity to hone in on a skill or an area that you are interested in and working towards. And often we are encouraged to put it within our PDPs. But for me, that gave me an excellent opportunity to talk with staff across different faculties of what strategies they're using and how I could potentially use those within my own classroom. I think it's really important to create that collaboration, and in turn it results in trust at the end of the day, because they're seeing that their voice is, open and active in a forum outside of in primary school, their stage group or their executive team. I really value that approach to collaboration, and clearly it has a large impact.
And thinking to those beginning teachers, early career teachers as well, it's almost like mixed ability grouping. Like they are getting, when I think of my first year of teaching, I was on year 1 and I didn't really know outside of stage 1 because I was at a very, very large school, and having that opportunity to be able to talk to others across different stages, you just learn so much.
Yep.
You are the student really in your first couple of years. You're like a little sponge at the beginning. So having professional learning teams, for example, we did similar on a Monday. We'd sort of rotate through the groups, etc. And it was so beneficial just to talk to others, and you pick up things that you wouldn't necessarily, gather. So it's a cool opportunity.
You choose your mentors, right? You don't have a mentor forced upon you.
Yeah.
So, it's also great to have those collaborative different groups across stages, within stage, whatever, because it gives people an opportunity to say, this is the person I resonate with most. You know what I mean? And if that makes it an easier situation for career advancement or, just to make their teaching just that little bit better, then why not? You know what I mean? Yeah. I've got salt in my mind. You could have introduced it with Salt Bay or, you know what I mean?
A little bit of a sprinkle of wisdom across the school.
Whatever it is. That's cool. Actually, one of the coolest things I did see was at a high school, I did a little bit of relieving as a director, and they, in their action plan, they made it that English and maths was everybody's responsibility.
Yeah.
It's everyone's business, we like to say.
Exactly. And the conversations that they were having, cross departments around how they could actually build maths into their industrial arts lessons or those sorts of things were really valuable tools, I suppose. And I was fortunate enough to be listening to these conversations and sitting within them and contributing at times. But believe it or not, that was the high school I went to as well. So it was even like a sense of pride moment too, going back into that high school. And these teachers cared so much and they were developing really good plans to make sure that English and maths results could be affected and brought along by making sure that everybody's business was those two areas, which is it was fantastic to see.
There's just so much good going on across our New South Wales public school system, and having people like you on the couch, who've been 34 years, a range of contexts, even some time as a director. No, I'm not bringing up your age now, Matt, but, your experience. It's really cool for, to sit down and have this platform to be able to share what's going on across our system, because we're so huge, over 2,200 schools. There's a bit of magic happening in everyone's public school. Well,
I want to say thank you to, because you guys are shining light on, some pretty important people within the education sphere and having great conversations around what is important in education, highlighting public education as a really, really, I suppose, important facet of society.
Yeah, world-class
bringing
system.
along great leaders of the future, as you say.
Thank you. We appreciate the feedback.
I'm humbled. So you referenced your vodcast earlier, the Principal's Office, is that correct?
Yes, that's right, yeah.
What inspired you to start the vodcast in the first place?
I suppose, we got to a stage at our school where there are a lot of great people who were very, very well adept at different areas within our school and had a lot of great knowledge. And I wanted to share that, but I also wanted to do something that was going to inspire pre-service teachers in particular. So it was a platform in which they could actually have a look at a video online. Some of them were a little bit long, I've got to say, but listen to the conversations, see what teachers are thinking and maybe affect their thinking about how they can actually come into a school and say, this is who I want to be as a teacher. Look, they were a lot of fun. We had a lot of laughs. We finished off with, I'd just read out some lyrics to a song as well, just for a bit of fun.
We might have to do some ideation with you, Matt,
New segment.
Yeah.
Available anytime.
There's potential there. Collaboration.
Talk to my manager.
All right, that's all we got time for today. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. And a huge thank you again for Matt joining us on the couch. It was wonderful to talk about, your vast 34 years with the Department of Education. It's a huge feat. And all you do for the future pipeline of the next generation of teachers, which is really cool to see. So thank you.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you share it with someone who would also enjoy it. And until next time, we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for tuning in to the Teach New South Wales podcast, where we explore the dynamic world of education. Don't forget to follow, like and subscribe to be notified when new episodes become available. You can find us on social media via our handle @Teach New South Wales. Until next time, keep learning, keep teaching and keep making a difference. This podcast is produced by the Teach New South Wales team from the New South Wales Department of Education.